Hello, everyone. Welcome back into the LFC Transfer Room. I'm Jack, joined today by Owen, Arnov, and Anthony. In somewhat more negative circumstances than we may have wanted to be, we're off the back of a second consecutive draw in the Premier League. Liverpool drawing 1-1 with Crystal Palace. Wilfried Zaha opened up the scoring before Darwin Nunez got himself sent off by headbutting Joachim Anderson. Then Luis Diaz with a beautiful assist from James Milner, finishing one home off the top of the box, equalizing things at 1-1. Liverpool couldn't find a winner. In the end, drawing a second consecutive match. I mentioned about Owen, Anthony, and Arnov. It's always important to add context sometimes, and I'll bring it back to the beginning of this Transfer Room YouTube page, which was in the end of January 2021. So the height of our fanless Anfield experiences in the Premier League. So those post-match reactions were always vents. They were always trying to get the weight off our chest after defeats, heavy defeats sometimes. Owen, I'll let you kind of just give your thoughts. Just overall, how are you feeling about the match right now?
Oh, where do I start? I'm not going to come on here and say, the league's gone, season's over. As easy as that would be right now and the way we're feeling, I think if we look at it tomorrow, you're looking at it, maybe think things aren't all negative. Right now, it kind of feels that way, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, look, Luis Diaz, I guess, hit that absolutely fantastic goal by him, solo goal. But at the same time, that's kind of what worries me is the fact that you can only score an absolute moment or play of genius by Luis Diaz. We couldn't score from just a normal kind of team goal. That's the kind of thing that really bugs me and annoys me. You see, kind of going forward as well, losing Darwin Nunez, not just the fact we drawn that game and lost him there. The fact that going forward, the next three games, Man United, we're not going to have a striker unless Firmino's back, which is unlikely. So we're not going to have a striker there. And then we've got Bournemouth, Newcastle, which are two extremely tough games right now. Look, we can't beat Fulham or
Palace.
My mind completely went blank then. Crystal Palace. So they're not two of the best teams. You saw Palace last week, lost to Arsenal. So it just tells you everything that you need to know, really. But yeah, we're not in a great position right now.
Arnov, your thoughts immediately after that one?
Yeah, similar to Owen. I think the first half was going really well. I think the first 25 minutes, we had about 11 shots, a couple on target. We went close a couple of times. Elliot was making some decisive and good plays, but then we just couldn't split them open. I mean, I think Anderson had Nunez down and played really well against him, but it was just that one chance. The first shot they scored with Zaha, and then after that it was just all calamitous. I think it's just a night to forget Anfield. Really, it's a sad game. It was the second half was a poor performance, but with the red card, it just changed everything. And Nunez let himself down. Now Darwin let himself down, but I mean he's young and it's a mistake he's never made as well. I think Gary Neville mentioned it in on the post match coverage for Sky Sports, and he'd never done it at Benfica. It's just probably the emotion just got to him. And if you saw before that, Anderson did provoke him a couple times, and yeah, he just fell for the bait. And he's a young man, and it was a young mistake. Poor, of course, but when we draw the game, it does feel really sour. And being 4 points behind City, 2 games in, it's just not to say we're not going to win the league. Of course, the league's over and stuff like that. But this was what cost us last season, dropping points away to teams that we should be beating on paper, especially at home to Palace and away at Fulham. So yeah, bad starts this season. But on to United, which we'll have no striker for. So yeah.
Anthony, I'll let you kind of just, before we kind of dig into some of those many, many small topics of this match, your thoughts on that one.
I think everyone's got the same sort of view. It's like not really much to take from it. It's disappointing, but Copler's on about there's no mentality last week. It just felt a bit like there was no extra sort of or push to get that win. Obviously we had to create chances, but I don't know. It just felt a bit boring at times, to be honest. Like it's not the usual Liverpool. And I don't know what's happened. Maybe because Mane's left or whatever. But they need to fix up, man. Because like Arnov said, these are the matches where if we drop points, it costs us the league, and we've seen it for a couple of seasons now, and they just need to start, just need to get themselves together, man. If we don't beat United, then I think we need to be a bit worried.
I am with you guys on the refusal to immediately, proclaim that the heavens are falling and we're doomed. But 2 points from the first two against teams that you need to be beating, just fundamentally to win a title. This means you got to beat probably City at least once in the you got to have a good record against the Big Six. You can't drop any points against the bottom half pretty much at this point. I mean, is it fair to say the title's gone? Like, I'll give the devil's advocate then. I think title's gone, Owen, and try and talk me off my ledge in this instance. It's 2 out of 38, but we've only gotten 2 points so far.
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of talk about this right now. So immediately after, when it's also fresh, I think right now I'm feeling similar to you. If I'm being 100% honest, I'm not going to lie and sit here and say I think we can still go and win the title. Because when you look at our squad and the players that we've got, and look, selling Takumi Minamino, letting Divock Origi go is fantastic. But when you look at the attacking options on the bench today, it's like we needed a Takumi Minamino. We're in a crisis already, and it's 2 games into the season. You see Fabio Carvalho, and look, if we're being real, he's played 20-odd games with Fulham in the Championship. Yeah, he's a good player for the future, but is he a player you want coming on to win you the game? No, not this soon on. So, like, yeah, it's lack of investment is going to cost us, I think, unfortunately. When you look at teams like City, even Arsenal, the way that they're spending, and something's coming through now as well. Mateus Nunes will join Wolves for 45 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons, according to reports in Portugal. So, and then Klopp just said now that we don't need midfielders still. It's like we do. Just don't lie about it. Like, if you don't think we need a midfielder, then you're just deluded, to be honest with you.
Arnov, I'll go to you with this. In terms of the squad assembly, letting Mane go, the options that Owen mentioned, Minamino, Origi, the decision we made leading up to this point, looking at the long-term prospects of getting your side a bit younger with Nunez, Carvalho, Ramsey, the long-term is probably better off just in terms of ages. Yeah. But right now, is Liverpool weaker than they were at the start of the window?
Well, we need to think about it as well especially in terms of context like today, Gomez not being fully fit to start, and also Konate being out, and the problems we got with Firmino, Jota going forward. I think, I agree with Owen that we do need a midfielder, but like we've seen it before with Klopp, he'll wait until he gets his man, and that man seems to be Bellingham. It's just the time of when that is going to be is a bit annoying for us fans, especially with the money that Arsenal spent, especially for a Man City buying Haaland and them looking unstoppable in their last couple of games. It's just it does seem like we're being a bit left behind and resting on our laurels quite a bit, especially in terms of the squad depth and quality. But yeah, I think today, amidst all the negatives, I think Elliott played amazing. He had a really good first half, especially. But also, even when Fabio came on, I think he done decent, and it was just a pity that we conceded that goal, Zaha, and the mistake, I believe, from I think Fabinho let Eze go too quick, but also too easily. But also Nat Phillips just not sticking to the line. But yeah, again, it comes with match fitness, like Matty was saying. Little discussion, but yeah, I think today and Fulham showed that. Yeah, we do need some investment, and else we will genuinely get left behind. So,
yeah, Anthony, in terms of, and you were a big Mane stay proponent, so you as anyone can hold your head highest and say, maybe if Mane's in this match, it's a different result. Of course, you can pick and choose when that applies and doesn't apply, but just in the direct replacement, in terms of just the 11, Darwin Nunez, lost his head in this one. I want to focus on him a little bit. How worrying is that, the head bump? And you can argue, it was relatively soft as headbutts go. Anderson really sold it well. He got into his head. But fundamentally, I mean, I think you can't rise to that bait. Anthony, for Nunez's incident and match as a whole to that point for you?
It just seemed ridiculous. Like as soon as because I didn't pay attention, I saw a red card. I was thinking the Palace defender got it for wasting time or something. And next thing you know, they're showing a clip of him, but he headbutting the defender, and I don't think it's soft at all. He's gone and but he whacked him on, and he tried headbutting him beforehand as well. Like they're showing a clip, so he didn't get away with it, did he? So maybe he was getting away with it in what league was he playing in? Portuguese one, like maybe they're not VAR there or whatever. But mate, you can't do that here, especially with these English refs. But yeah, I don't think it's too worrying for the future. He's not going to be headbutting someone every match, is he? So I think for the next 3 matches, it's definitely worrying. Obviously, Firmino's out, Jota's out, and Nunez is out. It's like, who do we actually play up front? We might have to put Salah there and put Elliott on the right wing, but it's like Owen said at the beginning, it's just a crisis already, and 2 matches in, and it should have been avoided. Klopp keeps going on about, the squad's fine. We sold 3 strikers or 3 forwards this summer, and we signed 1. It just doesn't make any sense, and Klopp's an idiot. You can call me out on it, but I think if he's not won a league title or Champions League end of the season, he has to be questioned, and it's because he's too loyal to these players. And like the Man City is one of the biggest example, man. If someone's playing bad, you could rotate, and you don't lose that much quality. Whereas with Liverpool, you could take someone out, and it's the midfield again. I'm sorry, but you know what? We'll touch on that, I guess, later in the video, because obviously our boy Keita didn't start. But yeah, with Nunez, I don't think it's too much to worry about, honestly. But for the next couple of matches, it will be.
Well, I mean, and what's fascinating is Klopp left a sub still to be used, or did he use all 5? I think he used the triple sub and then Carvalho. Did he make another one? I think that was it. So he had that 5th sub.
You on the bench though. You look at our bench. He's just like
Naby Keita.
Yeah, I thought he'd bring on Keita, especially for Milner. I thought we were crying for some more innovation, especially in the middle of the park. Elliott was supplying it, but we just needed someone else, like the piercing runs that Keita, is good at. I think we needed some of that, and going forward, yeah.
Look, Owen, I know and you were right. You were spot on with the midfield projection you had. I agree. We were going back and forth, maybe not you and I necessarily, but in general in our WhatsApp chats on Milner's performance. He was sound. He was solid. He was dependable. He was James Milner. But I'll pose this for you, almost backing you into a corner after this. But seeing a guy who's just dependable in the midfield, is that enough? Where you have Fabinho, who's kind of a ball winner disruptor, and you have an engine in Milner, and then you have a very young, creative guy in Elliott. Is that? I mean, as a midfield, that feels like it's just too flat. You're asking too much of that in a match.
Yeah, well, when you look at it, the first half could have gone numerous ways, because I think first 15, 20 minutes, we were all over them. People forget that.
It looked great.
And we could definitely have scored 1 or even 2 goals in that time. And then obviously have Nat Phillips playing, and Fabinho didn't cover himself in glory, as I think Arnov, you said before, letting Eze get away that easily. So then, when he gets through Zaha against Nat Phillips, it's a bit of a mismatch, really. And then I think even Van Dijk is at fault there, because he just stops. Like, you go full to him there, don't you? I don't understand. But going back to Anthony, what you said about Klopp, surely it has to go back to the owners, because they're the ones handing out the checkbook. Like, is it Klopp's decision saying, I don't want any more players? And if he is saying that, then that's absolutely crazy. And
it's tough for me to get behind the owner argument when we've almost made a net profit this summer. The money has to be there for a player. We've done really well with the wage budget. We've done really well with our sales, and we've signed Nunez and then some really cheap players. So for me, it's almost impossible for there to be no money. If there was no money and the owners are saying we're still not going to invest, I'd question where it's gone. Because at this point, it feels like it's Klopp's decision, and Anthony was I think was not harsh necessarily, but if after this season we're not contending or winning, probably the more important word, winning, one of the big 2, you have to ask, why didn't you make some signings this summer? Make some more signings. We have 3 weeks.
As things stand, I would take a Carabao Cup and FA Cup like last season again, easily, any day of the week. The way we've played the last 2 weeks, I'm sorry, it's not a dream scenario.
But you could almost gamble getting nothing by making a signing or two and kind of changing things around, disrupting things a little bit. But the knock on is the ceiling of this team lower than winning one of the big two? I struggle to see how we're winning a title, to be honest with you, because we're 2 matches into the season and we are having such dilemmas in the midfield, in the center back pairings. Our front line is lacking a bit of sharpness. So, we have all these issues already. And if it's 2 matches into the season against opposition that, frankly, we should have wiped away and be looking at this United match with 6 points, I mean, we're 4 points off the top right now, 2 matches into the season. So let's talk about, before we stray into the transfers, because I know that's where we all kind of want to turn to is solutions for this. Let's talk about the match a bit more. Arnov, you mentioned Elliott. We also chatted a bit. I thought he looked really, really sharp. I thought he was one of our better performers.
Yeah.
Still young, still, I think, a lot to develop. Anything else positives you're taking from this match beyond just Elliott?
I think it was the first 20, 25 minutes. Like, I think we had Palace on the press, on the back foot. It was just about getting the first goal. Like Darwin and Nunes in the first 10, 15 minutes, a ball played over on the volley, he just snatched at it, and that was unlucky. But on another day, he scores that. So it's just, I think there was quite a bit of positives, especially the first half, except the goal, which was, of course, Fabinho didn't, like Owen and I said before, Fabinho didn't do enough, I don't think, to stop Zaha. Eze, sorry. And then Eze tried the same thing with Trent, but Trent actually tackled him later on in the game. So it was a bit annoying with that. And then Van Dijk, of course, easing off, expecting Alisson to save a shot from Zaha, was also a bit lazy for my liking. And he's done that a couple of times, but obviously Van Dijk, best centre back in the world, I think, in my opinion. But I do also think I don't think it's entirely down to Klopp. On the signings, I think FSG would have stated how there probably isn't the money, or we're not spending this much on a player that you're not so sure on, because we know that when Klopp wants a player, he will get them, and 9 times out of 10, bar what the odd Minamino made, potentially all of the signings have worked really. Obviously according to your own judgment, Keita, but I don't think even if we don't win the Prem or the Champions League, I don't think Klopp's position as manager should ever. I don't think it should be questioned, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But I do think that that he's took us so far, and it's just coming so close. I think we do need the player, and the owner should see that we're so close. There's only so much left in the team that they can keep competing and keep pushing 90 points every season, and that's tough. But then, yeah, I think we had a decent game today. The red card totally threw everything off, and that was just stupidity from Darwin. But as he gets used to the league and also the intensity, he'll get used to that, and he'll know not to do that again. But I think it's just one of them where, like last week we played rubbish. Today we just had a moment of madness, really, and that was what cost us.
Yeah. There's a lot to dig into. I said this in the chat. We are not, and I said it facetiously at the beginning of this broadcast, we are not giving Milner credit for this assist. We are not. As a society, we cannot give him credit for passing it to him on the touchline, and then he takes on quite literally 6 players.
6 players.
That's not an assist. That's not an assist. Diaz assisted himself 3 times over. Good performance. Please remove that assist from his stat sheet. That was just not. That's like I said in the chat. That was Busquets when he kind of just like handed it off to Messi in the middle of the park, and then he took on the entire center pit of Real Madrid's defense and then tapped it home. Good dependable performance, but Diaz, I think was miles ahead of every other player for Liverpool, at least in that second half. Just I'll let you kind of give a response to that, but I think that his energy, the tracking back he was doing, I think that he was getting a lot of stick in that first half. I was one of the people giving him stick in that first half, but his response to this is now twice that we've been down a goal at Anfield, heading to the Kop end, and he's cut across. Last time against Spurs, it was a deflected shot that went in to that same celebration, grabbing the badge, just hyping the crowd up. He has been the player who's dug deep and found ways for us to get goals in those spots. Owen, I'll let you give thoughts on Diaz's performance as a whole.
Yeah, first off, I didn't think he was very good at all, to be honest with you. He's not the Luis Diaz that initially last season when we saw him come in. He's taking on players, a lot more confidence. we know with Diaz that we're not getting those guaranteed goals that we got with Sadio Mane, but you do kind of get a real good performance. That's what you are guaranteed from Diaz. Whereas first half didn't really see that. Just kind of passing it, nothing really happened with him. But second half, he just looked like he had that passion. He was running after the ball. The crowd were cheering him on, and Anfield absolutely loves to see a player doing that. So yeah, I think that having that in the end, and it was like he woke up a little bit, and then he got the goal. Obviously, absolutely fantastic goal, cutting in, and then the finish right into the side netting. So yeah, you can't ask for him any more second half. But yeah, first half, him and Robertson was absolutely shocking today as well.
Oh, it was unbelievably bad. It was. I was amazed that first half how bad he was. Like he just couldn't pass the ball. It was the worst we had seen of Robertson. And then Tsimikas came in. He didn't light the world up either. It was he usually has done that when Robertson's kind of had a bad performance. He's come in and done well. It was not easy conditions, down a man, and just kind of chasing the match. So I'm not going to say his career is over, obviously, but neither of our left backs look particularly great. I think Trent, I want to defend my boy as much as I want to, but that Zaha could have buried the match, at the back post. That again, just a complete lapse in marking him at the back post. And we're only fortunate that he just couldn't get his foot around it and put it on the right side of the post. I'm struggling to think of other things we can really hit on in this match because it's obviously there's a lot of frustration and clearly the players aren't going to be happy with it. But what improvements can be made for the United match if Klopp decides no transfers, Anthony, no transfers are going to be done. We're sticking with the squad. He likes where we're at. Maybe the owners, whatever reason is, this is our team. What changes personnel-wise, tactics-wise? Just anything can be done for this United match because United are in a bad spot as well. We're in a bad spot for kind of our own standards. I think both clubs and where their last few years have been are in very interestingly similar positions in terms of their standards, not in terms of where they're at. We're very clearly well ahead of them. But Anthony, for the United match, what do you want to see different?
I think the Núñez red card just sort of threw out any sort of perfect tactics we could have had going into that match. Like Martinez has looked awful, hasn't he, against these top strikers? So Núñez would have had him on the ropes. But I think Gomez has to start. If Matip's still out, obviously, has there been a date sort of announced when Konate's going to be back? Or is
it like 3-4 weeks? I think was the when he got injured about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, well, he's obviously going to be out then, isn't he? So Gomez has to start. Phillips is just not good enough.
I think Gomez looked good. Did Gomez not look good for you guys? I thought he looked pretty solid when he was on.
He did, but you know when you said it was Trent's fault at the back post, I thought it was Gomez. To be honest, I thought Trent was already marking someone.
Yeah,
you could argue both, but they never scored, so who cares? But I think Gomez has to start, and same obviously back five. Robertson, like you're saying, would Klopp normally change someone because of form? I'm not really sure, but
he dropped Henderson. Kind of
good
form.
Point, to be fair. I still reckon he'll start with Robertson though. Obviously, Mikas. Keita's got to start, man. He's had to start this match. It's honestly crazy to me why he just doesn't play him, even as a substitute, man. Just put the guy on and we'll win. Is that simple? Obviously, not everybody match, but come on.
I'll make the argument.
Old Trafford last season, he killed it, and I think Elliott has to start in the right wing, and whether he puts Henderson or Milner in central midfield, it doesn't really matter. I think he'll probably go with Henderson, but I think Keita's got to start, Gomez, Henderson, and Elliott in the right wing instead of Núñez.
Yeah, I actually make a good point with Elliott. I thought I was going to counter with, does Elliott not warrant a place after that performance? But I think you may stick him up front because move Salah centrally, Elliott on the right. Not ideal, but you may have to do it in the meantime because Jota out injured. I mean, Jota is a big loss. I think he's a great option off the bench. He's the go-to guy when Núñez is out. So I get the position Klopp's in that I don't think our front line's the issue. I don't think it is in the slightest.
Jota positioning as well. Sorry, just to cut in there, but whenever Jota plays, he always gets into the right positions where if shots are rebounded or the deflections, he's always there to tap in the rebound. So missing him there in those key moments, it is really felt. And Jota's definitely a really underrated player for sure.
Yeah, no, I think there's. We said this in our Keita debate on Thursday. If he can't nail on a place next 6 weeks when Thiago's out, it's not Liverpool and him are not going to work out together. Him not even getting a sniff when Fabinho looked absolutely gassed in those last few moments, stick him on for 5 minutes into that match. Just get him to do a run when Fabinho's absolutely zonked. For him not to even see a lick of action in that match was infuriating for me. I agree. Gomez, I think, looked pretty good when he came on. If he can get fit, ready for a full 90 against United, I think we play him. I said in the chat that the first goal was on Phillips for being a poor defender, because I think the way he positioned his body, you saw it in the offsides look. He was almost spread eagle. His legs were so wide, and he just kind of kept Zaha onside. Is any positives from Phillips from that performance? I saw nothing. Owen, Arnov, and any guys, any glimpses?
You know what I think is. Oh,
go ahead, Anthony.
I think he's like a decent, what is it, 5th choice centre back for us, but he's not going to take us to the title if he starts regularly. But yeah, I don't think we could be too harsh on him. Like you're saying, like match fitness, and he's just not really that top player that will carry us in a sense.
Owen, Arnov, on Phillips. Owen, I'll go to you first.
Okay. Yeah, his passing was all right, I thought. Kind of playing out from the back, kind of not really what you expect from Nat Phillips, if we're being totally honest. But yeah, he showed promising signs, but then when it kind of really comes down to it, under pressure, that's kind of where he struggles. And yeah, you see, that's where the massive difference is between the likes of him, Van Dijk, Matip, Konate, Gomez, really.
Arnov on Phillips.
Yeah, likewise. I think his passing and playing out from the back was all right. And crunching tackles were decent, especially in the second half. But then it's just them two issues. The goal, I think, he was playing him onside, Zaha. But also even later on in the game when Zaha pinned him again, he was also playing him onside again. And that could have been a chance to Zaha and he could have scored a second. But yeah, I think lack of match fitness and even playing in games as well, game time is just, that's what cost him. And I think, yeah, we need a fit Konate, fit Matip, and a fit Gomez as well to start ahead of him. So he's our 5th choice, and it's a shame how we've got our players all injured again this season. It's like a repeat of 2 seasons ago. But yeah, I just hope 2-3 seasons ago. I just hope against United, like Anthony was saying, like Darwin, seeing that matchup, Darwin and Lisandro Martinez would have been amazing to watch. Darwin would have had him on toast, especially physically. With the way Martinez was getting bodied and handled the other day against Brentford. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not to be. And yeah, it is a painful loss. 3 games out as well. Yeah, it's a stupid loss, but we have to settle with it and move on.
Exactly. I actually pulled up the 2003-2004 Arsenal standings. They drew 12 matches in the Prem. So I'm not saying we're going to go invincible. But we could go 26-12-0. We get 90 points, and we wouldn't win the title because City would get more than 90 points. That would be the true stab in the chest, invincibles, but you're not enough for the title because these are the matches that would be big ones to drop. So this is going to be 7 days until our next match in the Prem. 3 days less of a wait than it was last time around. It was a brutal wait between matches. I was so excited for this one, and it was just a punch in the jaw. So we'll have plenty of time to break down the United changes. Let's look at kind of the squad, things that could be moved around to actually improve things, because fundamentally it's clear that even amongst this stream right here, Owen and I disagree heavily on IBK to Jurgen Klopp disagrees heavily with a lot of the fan base in terms of the quality and the options of this squad. But there was a potential Luis Diaz situation where Fabrizio Romano tweeting now 8 minutes ago, Wolves are closing in on a Mateus Nunez deal with Sporting. Agreement is 45 million euros plus 5 million more in add-ons. So it wasn't just sources in Portugal, Owen. It's Fabrizio Romano, probably one of the top tier sources in the world. Is this Diaz situation where we should be jumping in there to try and make a signing for Mateus Nunez? I know we probably all agree that we need a midfielder. Is anyone dissenting opinion? We don't need Mateus Nunez.
I think we got if Klopp's trusting in the in waiting for Bellingham, and it does hinder FSG actually putting the money towards Bellingham. I don't know. I think it could. We've been unlucky with injuries, very unlucky with injuries, especially to Thiago as well. That another one. But I think if Klopp's shown he'll wait for his man, and if Nunez isn't his man, then he's not. I don't think he'll spend £50 million on a player, because it is quite a fair bit of money, especially if you factor in the 120 we'll probably spend on Bellingham next season. So I think it is more of a waiting game, especially with that one. But whether we like it or not.
Arnov, here's what I'll pose as the alternative: is it just one midfielder we need next summer in Bellingham? Because I think it's going to be a similar situation to this summer with Mane, Minamino, Origi leaving, just signing Nunez. And you could argue Carvalho is an option, so it's a bit of lessened depth there. But
and Curtis Jones.
You got Curtis Jones and Elliott stepping in. Carvalho is kind of an option, but you're losing Milner, you're losing Oxlade-Chamberlain, you're losing Keita, all on contracts. Firmino's going as guys who go like as a 10. So you're losing 4 guys right there who are in and around there. Are you just signing Bellingham? Is he going to paper over all those cracks? Or do you, in my opinion, you need 2 or 3 midfielders? And Fabinho isn't going to age too well, I think, unless we get some good backup for him, whether that's Henderson or a 6 we sign as a backup. I'm unsure. Henderson, I'm not sure. Is he going to be much better than I thought he was good off the bench. I thought he was a solid option off the bench today, but I think that's what he should do. He should be a bench option. I just don't think one midfielder covers this. So I get waiting for Bellingham as your big marquee center mid and kind of having that place almost ready for him.
Yeah.
But I just don't see – that's just a good deal. 45 million euros for Nunez. It's tough. It's tough.
We can't afford to waste another season. We did it in 2020.
Yeah, it's true. That's right as well, yeah. You're right.
Klopp's going to be gone before we know it. And this is such a waste. Like, we got such a talented squad there, and we're missing 1 or 2 really good players. It's so frustrating, honestly. And then Man City, they know how to do it. They're going around spending where they need to strengthen. It's just an absolute joke, and I'm just fed up of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, is it as simple as a midfielder solves things? Is it as simple as just one, like right now? Because I think it damn near is.
I think it could be. But don't you guys think that we played? Fair enough. We didn't get the win, but don't you think the first 20 minutes, first half, we were unlucky not to score, and also when we got the red card, we played even better then. So
to build off that as a kind of to almost be the contrarian perspective, we played well. We've played well in recent matches, but in the Prem now, 6 straight matches, we've conceded first. So for me, it's not an execution issue. It's not necessarily a direct talent issue. It's a mentality issue, I think. I think it's you can only push a group of players so far before you burn them out. And I think burnout is a major factor with this group. You go so hard trying to get that quadruple last year, and you come up so close, so short. Yeah. And to have such little turnover in the squad, I think that getting rid of guys like Mane, Minamino, Origi is fine if you replace them with new, young, hungry players who haven't experienced that emotional burnout. I think that's what this is just an inability to get it over the line.
Adding on to what you just said, Jack, even last season, everyone was saying Mane was rubbish, but he was still like 2nd or 3rd top scorer in the league. He's amazing. You still need someone who gets your goals, and it's okay saying we played well, which obviously we do want to see us play well, but it's not. It's reality is it's not enough to just play well nowadays. When you have City getting 90, 98, 100 points a season and 94 points, whatever. So we just need someone who's going to take us over the line. And I already said I think we do need 2 midfielders. Like you pointed out, Fabinho, he can't consistently play 40, 50 matches a season. Although I thought he played really well today. Although he gave away that sort of first one, he's a bit slow on it. I did think he played well, but he still needs a backup. And the midfielder is just clear as day. Klopp just can't keep denying it and saying that the squad's good enough when you've got your best midfielder in Thiago out for 6+ weeks or whatever. You've got injury-prone midfield. Milner's aging. Henderson, I think he's getting a bit worse. So you just got to sign another midfielder, and everyone else can see it. So I don't know why he can't.
I reckon we'll get Tielemans.
That would be a weird one. That'd be a weird one for me because
I don't know why I can see it.
Does he have the end? Like he doesn't have the engine that Milner has. He's a bit more technical skill, but it just feels like he's a reduction in terms of what we're currently want our midfield to do. It'd be interesting. Yeah. I don't know. And to kind of go back to your point, Arnov, and we played really well in that first 30 minutes. I was like, we're doing unbelievable. And I saw that on NBC, the American broadcast, it was cycling through some stats on the broadcast, and it was like touches in the opposition box, It was 22-0 for Liverpool before they had gotten, and then I think it might have been literally their first touch in the box. They scored. For me, that's not, we played well. We played super well. And then we had one moment that Fabinho got burnt. Nat Phillips, a backup option, didn't step well. It was one mistake, and we got punished for it. But that's just because Palace were up for it, and we weren't, at the end of the day. And for me, that indicates that you need to change things around a little bit. You need to bring in fresh faces. Look at how long these guys have been working together and how often teams are so similar for as long as they are. Look at since Van Dijk signed in 2018. Van Dijk, Gomez, Trent, Robertson, Alisson. Well, Alisson was a bit later, so he was like summer 2018. Fabinho as well. They all came in that about 4 years ago now. These guys have been as a pretty solid core group. They're still around. And that's not a bad thing necessarily, but you're still relying on them and you're pushing them for so long. You're bound to have matches like this, and that means you're bound to not win trophies because of moments like this. Because it feels like in my title for the opposition preview, I said must-win match because I felt it was a must-win. After the Fulham match, how can you be title contenders and drop points against two teams who, in all likelihood, maybe this is harsh on Crystal Palace, maybe they might be a top half team. I think both of them are bottom half this season in the Prem. I don't think that you can realistically drop 4 points to them and expect to win a title. I think the title's over personally. I genuinely do think that. It's not, and especially if we don't change anything. If we sign Nunez, we sign another midfielder, I think we actually have a chance to really bounce back and win a couple trophies. But if the squad's at the current level, I think it's just going to be taking too many punches to the jaw. I don't know.
I've got a question, Jack. Hang on.
Go ahead, Anthony.
This is for all three of you, by the way, right? So I was thinking about this the other day. Do you think, so when Klopp had his first full transfer window, 2016-17, do you think his midfield that season, so Wijnaldum, Lallana, Emre Can, Coutinho, is better than the current midfield, and this is the quadruple contending one?
I think it might be. That's like not prime Genie, but that's pretty good Genie. That's pretty good. That's really near on world class Coutinho. We didn't have a great six.
I think with a fully fit, with our midfield fully fit, Fabinho, Hendo, Thiago. I think that's top, man. That's top. I think we've been a bit short sighted. I think that is top. It's just we've been blighted by injuries, and as you lot have all said, we do need a player that can actually step in, and but we just haven't got that. And when Jude comes, he will be that man. But when Fabinho, Thiago, and Hendo are fully fit, and midfield looks good, like. But yeah, it's just unfortunate, I think.
I'm. Let's talk about Carvalho. Was that Owen? You pulled up that comment? Or was that you, Owen?
Yeah, it was me. Yeah.
I'm not calling you out. I'm just thoughts on Carvalho. I don't disagree with that comment. I think that was a pretty apt comment.
Yeah, he just doesn't look like a very good attacking threat. If we're being real, I know we had that one. Well, not really Saita, wasn't a million miles away, but yeah, same in the Fulham game. Just kind of looks a bit isolated, a bit lost, if we're being totally honest. Yeah, it's like playing him on the left wing kind of feels like he's not kind of fully adapted to that position yet. Then left midfield isn't really going to be any better because you kind of want someone who's going to control the play more. Having said that, the way we're playing at the minute and kind of the results we're getting, maybe we should try Carvalho in the less centre midfield role. But yeah, I think Curtis Jones is probably another one who we could probably try in there against United. Hasn't seen any minutes so far this season, has he, Curtis Jones? And to be fair, Klopp always likes to go for him and give him minutes. So yeah, I think maybe giving him a chance in United to see what he's got. Then could it be any worse? I'm not confident for that game at all. By the way, I know United have been looking, but really? I'm not confident. Anyone against United.
I don't think you can look at the performance and say Warren's confidence, to be fair. I think it's harsh, but that's kind of the truth. Back when Henderson was having his contract debate in 2021, Carter and I had a major disagreement. I was can't let Hendo go. And I hesitated. I disagree heavily now. I'm like, damn, that was a bad decision. What were they cooking? What were they cooking? Trying to get him off the books a little bit. And he was saying Ruben Loftus-Cheek was a better option. I was like, oh, you're a clown. You just get that out of here, brother. I mean, I'm taking Ruben Loftus-Cheek over Henderson every day of the week now. Carter, I can only deeply apologize to you for you were prophetic. You saw it. I think you also have some bad takes every once in a while, but you got me on that one. I was late to the party, but I don't know. It's just it's not infuriating. Like you can always, and it's so annoying with the dialogue around Liverpool. Like we are very blessed as Liverpool fans. We have some very world-class players. We're going to be competing for silverware. We're in the Champions League. We still have, I'm not writing the Premier League off, but there are still 3 competitions that haven't even kicked off yet that we can still win, and that would still be a great season. So it's not like the world is crashing in on itself. And Carter, you know what? I'm glad you're commenting this. I'm glad you're still around to be seeing you being right. Like I laughed at you. I think if you went back, I think I literally laughed at you. I think there's a clip of me laughing at you, and I'm gonna go back and watch that and think about how much of an idiot I looked like trying to back Henderson like that. Because I think it would have been the harsh, but maybe the right decision back then. But anyways, back to what I was saying. We're such a good side, so many good players, and there was still a great chance for a lot of trophies. But there are obvious improvements to be made that aren't being made, and the rationale given for them by Klopp and the side is just doesn't make sense to me. Has his comments come out yet? By the way, after this match, I'd love to see what he's been saying.
Yeah, he said, I got it here.
Go for
something outrageous, actually. That was a really good performance from us. A really good performance, apparently. Do we agree with that?
No. I mean, no. You relied on the Anfield juice to scrape a draw against Crystal Palace.
I think that red card changed it. Changed a lot.
Okay, but Arnov, for me, it looked like we were in like a bit of a lull, and then the red card. I think I literally said in the chat, tactical red card from Nunes to get out of the match because the crowd was dead up until that red card, and then spiked into life.
Yeah, Palace. I think Palace fans were cheering. What was it? They were mocking the atmosphere. It was quite poor. I think that Zaha goal killed all confidence from everyone, and we thought, here we go again. This repeated last week, and then when Darwin done the madness that he did, I'm surprised we even got anything from the game. To be fair, we should have got a win, but that moment of magic from Diaz, and without it, we wouldn't be. We could have even been 2-0 down with Zaha if he actually scored. So, and it was on the right side of the post, but yeah.
I mean, and actually, another thing. Go ahead, Owen. Go ahead.
Jurgen Klopp says Joe Matip is out for 2 weeks.
Is Firmino going to be fit? Apparently, he's been given he might be a 50-50.
I'm not like 50-50 like Firmino. That's a scary prospect in 2022 in that front line. Like I'm not sure what kind of performance he's going to drop against United. I mean, he had a good one in the lockdown. Scored against Dean Henderson, but also Klopp said that Gomez and Henderson had injury issues in the build-up to the match.
Klopp has said Bobby might be ready next week.
Yeah, that's all right. As long as we've got a recognised striker.
Yeah. No, and ESPN FC are tweeting a picture of Mane in a Bayern uniform, looking up at the picture of the result, saying sometimes you don't know what you've got until it's gone. No. Mane changes nothing about this result. Nothing. His replacement, Luis Diaz, got us the point. Nothing about this result. And you know what? That's going to happen until we all die. Oh, if we had Mane still, he's going to be like 38 at this point. If we had still had Mane. God, I gotta hate this account so much. That account sucks. No, okay. Owen, you're not feeling great with the United match?
No.
Arnov, Anthony.
No, I think I'm confident going into the United game. I think if we play like we did today, we'll definitely get some joy against them. They look a shambles against Brentford and a shambles against Brighton both games, especially that first half against Brentford. Oh my gosh,
they were so bad.
Oh my! But I just wish we had Darwin ready for that because he could have gone up against Lisandro. I can't believe his stupidity for today, especially knowing that we had United on Monday. I think Klopp didn't even give him no acknowledgement. Milner was trying to get him off the pitch, but he was his antics were insane. I can't believe he done it today. But Oh well, he'll live and he'll learn. He's a young striker still, and he's looked good since he's come. So yeah, it's just a mistake. We gotta move on and get the 3 points against United, which we will, of course. So
It will be like
Yeah.
a big bounce back if we can get the 3 points there. I don't think there could be a more perfect result than like a battering, like a 3-0 at Old Trafford again. And like I had a dream where it was like the 5-0 last year at Old Trafford, but like there was a red card that it was at Anfield. And so when like the Pogba tackle happened, like Anfield got pissed off, and then Klopp got pissed off. And he was like, "All right, guys, we're scoring." And Liverpool scored 10, and then it was like Eric 10 goals. That was a dream I had. I don't think that's going to happen now that we don't have Darwin, because Darwin could have scored like 4 of the 10, but that would have been immense. It would have been immense.
Jack, I want to apologise to you actually about Fabinho, because he was shocking. Rodri's miles clear.
Look, I mean, I'm not going to say that he's like, I was a bit harsh
Wow.
in our Keita stream, but I do still think Rodri's just an utter beast right now, because Fabinho's just burnt out. It's not that he's a bad player. There's still a good player in there. He had his moments. I think early on in that first, 15, 20-minute period where we were really good, he was part of that. He was having a good performance. But then when it got bad, it got really bad. Like when he got spun by SA. That was he has an inability to commit that cynical foul. Like I think he was literally trying to bring guys down in transition and just could not. And I don't know what it was. Because I think he was trying to do like where it's on the edge and he's going for the ball. So it's not going to be a yellow every time. But he just couldn't bring guys down. It happened so many times where I was just saying, just clear him out. Just stop the counter. Because that's what City do so well. Every single one of their players just stops counters before they can even get rolling. So I'll say it again. I'm going to say it every day that I'm on a stream until the transfer window's up. If we sign one midfielder, our depth goes from poor to fantastic. You slide Henderson into a backup for Fabinho. He was good off the bench. You get Milner not necessarily having to play as soon with an injury crisis as he has to play now. He's good off the bench. He's a good option in matches. This wasn't his match, I don't think. I would have preferred this midfield against United, to be honest. A guy like him in that, where the match is going to be open. You don't need to generate space. He would have been great in that match. And I think he might still be a decent option in that match. But because there was such little limited space, his technical skill was really drawn out of him, and he didn't have a great showing in that. So but then you can have Keita as a backup for Thiago. You can have Elliott not necessarily pushed into a starting role right now. Just by signing Mateus Nunes, just by doing that, you have such a the squad is so close to perfect. I think a fully fit squad is near perfect. But you sign Nunes in this fully fit squad, and you have perfect depth, in my opinion. Perfect, near on perfect. But we're just, like I said, those of you who have been on the channel for a bit, Carter, you may remember this, but when we were in the dark days of the 2020-2021 season, we were hoping for even top 4. When we were about 6th or 7th, when we were really off of it, I said, we get top 4, I run through the streets nude. We got top 4, and I was not a man of my word, and I did not do it. This time, to the people, we sign a midfielder, I will do it. I will do it. Not on my street, because there are a bunch of families that live here, and I'm pretty sure I get arrested for running through my street, but I will run the length of the street completely nude.
Someone screen record.
Someone will record it. We may, and it will be
Someone record that.
So now there may need to be some editing to ensure that I don't get blackmailed later in my life. But no, we just need a midfielder, man. Let's just hope that the Nunes deal turns into a Luis Diaz situation. We're going nearing on 50 minutes here. I'm pretty tuckered out with my anger. I'll give kind of just open forum for last thoughts and kind of just general discussion on things. Owen, anything else that hasn't been said that you want to have said?
Klopp out.
Ooh, Owen really wants the stream to go for another 40 minutes. He really is.
Gosh.
And it digs back to what Arnov said, because Anthony, I agree with you. If we don't sign a player and then don't compete for trophies, you got to ask Klopp questions. Like, you didn't sign players, the squad wasn't up to snuff. I think he sees out the 4 years on his contract. Of course, he's been a phenomenal, he's transformed the club. He's earned, to make a decision and it turns badly and we let him stick it out. But Klopp is irritating me more now than he ever has. And I'm not as far as Owen, and I'm sure you're not actually. Are you actually Klopp out?
No.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what is annoying me though. I'm really getting on my nerves. Him making excuses literally all the time. Even before the match, he was like moaning to the interviewer. He's just like, what's the point? Like when we were winning Premier League, Champions League, you didn't see that from Klopp. He was just a nice guy, really likable. Like, why is he suddenly turned into this sort of character now, where he's trying to be sort of edgy and try and get people's heads? It's not working, is it? Clearly,
No.
Today the referee wasn't great either. So
the common excuse for when he does it's raining a lot or the pitch was really dry is he's trying to pull the attention away from his players. Well, it's clearly not working. Now you just look like an idiot. Now you just look like an extra idiot because your team isn't winning, and you are saying stupid stuff like, "The pitch was really dry." Well, it's dry for both teams. That logic I will never understand. Anything else I want to be on your club out?
Not really, to be honest. Just kind of frustrating, and I'm sure tomorrow it will feel a tiny bit better, or at least I hope it will. But yeah, I think all focus now is on the United game, and hopefully we'll have a few players back for that one. Otherwise, not too confident. I can't lie.
Arnov, anything else from this match that we haven't talked about? Anything else you want to add on before we get out of here?
Yeah, I think it's just we've been over it, but the cynical nature behind the red card and the pragmatic approach Klopp played in playing Milner, I just don't think it was needed. You're right, Jack, in that would have been a midfield that I reckon he'd have played against United rather than Palace, where the space is going to be a lot less, the gaps are going to be less. There's more need for a creation from a Keita or someone of that ilk. But yeah, I think confidence going into United. Yeah, I'm very confident that we'll beat United, and that will kickstart our season definitely. But I'm not. And I also I'm fully behind Klopp as well. I know a lot of comments about the squad being perfect and this and that is very. It can be frustrating, especially when we look at the midfield situation. But I do think I'm fully behind him. If he genuinely thought that. And I think it might be a higher problem than what we see, in that FSG are just not freeing up the funds to buy another player that Klopp may not be 100% about and wait for Jude next summer or wherever in January, because Klopp's not dumb. I think we see the issue that persisted a few years back, a couple of years back when we finished just about fourth thanks to Alisson header. He's no fool. I'm pretty sure he does see that we do need a midfielder, but I think there is another part that we don't know that is at play, and the injuries don't help with Thiago. That he's even shown he's injury prone, and Naby not as much last season, but yeah, I think there is a need for a midfielder, and I fully trust in Klopp though. So we'll beat United anyway.
That would be a nice. I wish that was just tomorrow. Like I don't have to have this pain for a full week. Anthony. Your last thoughts? Anything else from the stream? The summer window? Why Naby Keita is the best player to win the number 8 in Liverpool's history?
I mean, he's won a Premier League title. I
said that one time, and I got some. Like, all right, Jack, you're pushing your luck here.
Nah, but I think next week, although we're not on the best of form, we may be bad, but United are just they're 100 times worse as us. And I think we were getting the same comments last season where United were really bad, and they're like, "Oh, this is the match we're going to turn it around." It's always Man United, Liverpool, and we're going to slap them up 5-0. So I don't think that, although it'll be sort of silly to concede I think it's a bit silly from you, Jack, conceding the league so early on. Like it is 2 matches, and although it's not looking good in the short term, I think in the long term, how many points did we drop last season in 10 matches, and obviously. There's still plenty of time to go, and I think once our squad's fully fit, and let's just hope there is some sort of Diaz type signing with Matheus Nunes, and he comes and sort of what's the word, like re-energizes our whole team. Then I think we can make a proper title challenge. But quadruple. I'll predict it beginning of the season, mate.
Adding on to Anthony quickly, it is quite interesting because we won more games than City last season, and we still ended up losing the league. So it just goes to show, like, these draws, these little pesky draws against Brighton last season when we were 2-0 up, ended up drawing the game. And even this one as well, like, and last week, they can come, they'll come back at the end of the season back to haunt us. And I still think the league is open because we were so many points behind in January, February time, and then we pulled it back. We were 14 points behind at one stage, and City went on a mad losing and drawing streak. So, but yeah, it's just these little pesky drop points will come back to haunt us, and Klopp should know that ahead of anyone. So, yeah, going forward, it should be all right, and I hope we pan up.
Most definitely. You can't win the title in August. You can lose the title in August, though. So I think, it's very interesting what happens in the coming weeks. Still a lot up in the air. As much as I want to be doom and gloom, maybe for the clickbait, the title's back on when we beat United next week. I shouldn't be so down on our luck. Thank you to Owen, Anthony, and Arnov for coming on the stream. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, giving your comments all throughout the day. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and like the video if you enjoyed what you saw. We're going to have streams as we try and cope with this draw all throughout the week. And we'll hope, if you would turn on the notification bell, hopefully there will be a Mateus Nunez signed or whoever signed. Someone good, not whoever, like Rabio from Juve. That wouldn't get me out of my bed. I would just kind of still stay asleep. But anyways, for Owen, for Arnov and Anthony, myself, Jack, this has been a stream from the LFC Transfer Room. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.